Road Warrior Animal, real name Joseph Laurinaitis, passed away last night. His Twitter account confirmed this, and the family is planning on releasing a statement later today. His final tweet was telling his wife, "Happy anniversary, baby. I love you." He passed away at the Tantar A Resort in Osage Beach, Missouri. I assume he was there celebrating his anniversary with his wife at the resort. We do not know exactly what happened. We will get more details later today when the family releases a statement. We do know that the legendary Road Warrior Animal is no longer with us. He was just 60 years old. He appeared recently in the Dark Side of the Ring special called The Last Ride of the Road Warriors, which I reviewed on my channel. You can look up that video. It's it's on my playlist in the Vice reviews. I remember seeing him in that documentary, and I'm going to be honest, he didn't look like he was in the best shape. I'll be real. He did look, he didn't look great. But I remember him being in a gym setting, and it was like he was working out. They talked about the history of the Road Warriors and how they came to be. They were both working out inside of Jesse Ventura's gym in Indianapolis when Hawk, who saw Animal working out, he slapped Animal really hard on the back and told him, "You should be lifting more weights." They later started to work as bouncers in a bar at the same bar in Minneapolis, and it was Ole Anderson who gave Animal a shot as a pro wrestler. However, things didn't work out too well for him because his girlfriend fell pregnant around this time, and the couple decided to get married. Animal knew that he couldn't afford to live off low wrestling payoffs when he had a child on the way, so he decided to quit wrestling and move back into bouncing. That's when Hawk came into the frame as a possible partner. Someone showed Ole Anderson a picture of Hawk working in Canada, and he saw it, and he thought that Hawk was Animal because they looked similar. When he found out it wasn't, he said there are two of them, and he thought both guys would be excellent as a tag team. And boy, Ole was right. The Road Warriors were born, and it didn't take long for them to become one of the coolest tag teams in the entire industry. Things really started moving when the duo moved away from their Village People-esque biker look towards face paints and spikes. The team looked something, well, it's hard to explain, but they really, really looked something right out of Mad Max. And the Road Warrior, I think that's the title of the second Mad Max movie. It looked exactly like that. They were born, and it didn't take long for them to, just take off. As, the Road Warriors we saw. They had a strict no ball shots policy, but they would hit hard everywhere else, which is kind of funny. They'd be mindful of nuts and maybe teeth, though Animal says some of their clotheslines hit guys were seriously stiff. I remember them talking about that in a documentary, and I went back watching some of those old Road Warrior matches. Jesus Christ, they would just hit guys with so much force. The clotheslines, my God, you want to be hit by one of those guys, and of course the Doomsday Device. They would literally kill these innocent jobbers. And it's not a surprise because Hawk, he'd spent years punching him in the face to prepare for his wrestling match. They began touring in Japan in 1985, and they had really different lifestyles, Animal and Hawk. Animal, said he liked to wrestle, work out, eat, and sleep. He was, not a huge party guy, not a huge drinker. Hawk was, he had a reckless partying lifestyle. He got involved with the Japanese mafia and cocaine. It was really, really bad. In Jim Crockett Promotions, their hard-hitting style, no-nonsense attitude, and winning ways made the Road Warriors fan favorites. Even when they were booked as heels, the fans actually refused to boo them. They started to split their time between the AWA and the NWA until finally leaving the AWA for big money contracts with the NWA, and they had a huge push for the Monster Duo planned. During their initial run in the NWA, they helped popularize matches such as the War Games match, which was, they heavily, were involved in that one. The Scaffold match, which, who can forget those? And they had the trademark Chicago street fights. They were really, people knew these guys. When you saw them, the thing that made them so popular was they were tough guys. They weren't people you'd want to mess with. There's some wrestlers who I think have trouble getting over because people don't buy them as legitimate. That was never the issue with the Road Warriors, because you knew these guys would beat the shit out of you if you ever fought them. In their last year with the NWA, they feuded mainly with the Varsity Club, the Samoan SWAT team, and the Skyscrapers before leaving the NWA in the summer of 1990 due to conflicts with Jim Herd. In 92, they went to the World Wrestling Federation, WWF at the time, and they changed their name to the Legion of Doom when joining the WWF. According to Paul Ellering, Animal would often make up stories about how the Road Warriors were part of the He-Man universe, and that's where Ellering believes he got the idea for Legion of Doom. That's what he said in the Vice documentary. I don't know. I think the whole Legion of Doom, it's basically a group of supervillains in DC's Justice League 2. Most wrestling fans probably thought LOD emulated from that, and that's kind of where, I guess that's where I thought it was from. But I guess Ellering says it was from Ellering says it was from He-Man's Master of the Universe. Immediately, they feuded with Demolition there, which was a terrible idea. Demolition was basically a Road Warrior knockoff, and they feuded, and the LOD won quickly. The reason was, I think, Axe of Demolition was in bad health, so it became Hawk and Animal versus Smash and Crush of Demolition, and the feud was very disappointing. Animal talked about it. They just had him crush Demolition quickly, and I thought that was actually kind of a snub to Demolition in a way. Even though we all know the Road Warriors were bigger stars, just to have them lose so badly, they really could have made this a major feud. I think a lot of people really wanted to watch that at that time. And man, in 92, they missed out on a lot of stuff. They could have had Hogan and Flair, LOD versus Demolition at WrestleMania, all these great matches, but they messed up that year. So SummerSlam of 1992 is where things go downhill. Hawk was visibly under the influence of drugs and could barely perform, and it was a match with the IRS, which was just a total disaster. Animal told Vice how Hawk would trick Vince McMahon earlier in the day, and I remember him telling the story of that's sad. They're talking about the match, and Hawk would just keep interrupting, and he was just drunk, and it was just cringeworthy. Ooh. So Hawk left the WWF, and he went to Japan at the time, where he formed a Road Warrior knockoff with a Japanese wrestler. Animal, of course, was not happy about this. He stayed in the WWF as a single star. He went to WCW briefly, but then he left the wrestling business for a couple of years. He decided to get out. Hawk was still in Japan. He would tour around the world. They went back to the WWF, Hawk and Animal, and they returned at WrestleMania 14 as the Legion of Doom while they were being managed by Sonny. I remember watching that show as a kid, WrestleMania 14. They have all these tag teams and battle royals, and all of a sudden you hear, "Oh, what a rush!" And it's the LOD 2000. They had new gear. I think Animal wore trunks instead of tights. It might have Animal or Hawk. One of them was wearing trunks, but they come back, and Sonny's there, and it was really cool. That was a cool moment. They win it. But they didn't do much with them. They had him. I think they had him feud with the New Age Outlaws, and things just didn't work out. Again, things went downhill quickly with Hawk's addition. They brought in Draws, and he became part of the LOD when Hawk went there, and they exploited Hawk's drug addiction. I don't want to get into that. That was really bad. They'd make sporadic appearances. I think they even appeared on Raw a few months before Hawk's death, but Michael Hegstrand, Road Warrior Hawk, Hegstrand passed away in 2003. Animal told the story about how he found out that, he found out about Hawk's death. It was really sad. I think he was just moving furniture with his wife in their new home, and they had a lot of furniture, and he was tired. And basically, he went to just have a nap on the couch because he was worn out, and he just died. It's horrible. Before Hawk's death, him and Animal became born-again Christians, and they really changed a lot, especially Hawk. And for that to have happened with Michael Hegstrand's death, it was just really, really sad. I remember reading about it, just being really surprised by it, because it wasn't too long ago when we saw them both on TV. Animal, he'd make numerous appearances with the company, he had numerous stints. He returned to WWE in 2005. He formed a new LOD with Heidenreich, which was horrible. It failed badly. It wasn't Animal's fault. Just Heidenreich was just not. He could not do that. He was not part of that. He didn't fit in. They had him feud with Eminem. I think Mercury and Morrison with Melina. It didn't work out. And we'd see him there. He'd sometimes come on TV for a while on WWF. He'd make appearances. He was on TNA. I saw numerous appearances in TNA, and he would make other appearances at autograph signings. He was, of course, very active on social media. Then, of course, he decided to release an autobiography called The Road Warriors: Danger, Death, and the Rush of Wrestling. On March 1st, 2011, it was released. It was published by the Medallion Press, Inc. It was a great book. And he talks about the rise of the Road Warriors, shares funny stories of his life on the road, and offers behind-the-scenes accounts of professional wrestling. Then, a month later, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame as part of the Road Warriors, along with Hawk and, of course, their manager, Paul Ellering, who I haven't mentioned yet. It was a great speech they gave. It was, James Laurinaitis and Paul Ellering talking. They talked about their career, the whole formation of the Road Warriors, and they did really well. I thought it was probably one of the best speeches all that night. They gave a great tribute to Hawk, and of course, it was a great ending. Ellering says, "I know an angel who it was I forget exactly the quote, but it was like, he was calling Hawk an angel, and of course, Animal ended with the, "Oh, what a rush." It was a great ending. That was a great moment seeing the Road Warriors inducted into the Hall of Fame, and of course, everyone wishes it could have been Hawk and Animal there together with Ellering accepting the induction, but it didn't work out. Other appearances they made was they were he was in TNA, or Hawk, I mean. He did I remember seeing a whole bunch of stuff there. More in Japan, and of course he appeared at All In, the pre-show for All In 2018, and of course that led to the formation of All Elite Wrestling. So he saw him there. I saw him on his motorcycle. That was a really cool moment, actually, seeing him there. I remember it. And if you want to talk about, we can talk about his personal life. Laurinaitis and his former wife Julie. She was a former powerlifter and a bodybuilder. They have 2 children, James Laurinaitis and Jessica. James was born in 86, Jessica in 89, and he also had a son named Joseph, who was born in 1981 from a previous marriage. His brothers have been involved in professional wrestling over the years. John Laurinaitis, John Yates, of course, lost his brother. He's the former executive vice president of WWE, and he still works there. Marcus Laurinaitis is a former wrestler. He was part of the wrestling crew, was the Terminator and Fury tag team. And of course, you have to mention Laurinaitis' son, James, was in the NFL, and he played there for 8 years. James Laurinaitis was a very good linebacker. He played with the Rams for most of his career, and he was there for a while. And I remember seeing specials about him and Road Warrior, and I think James was even offered to go into the WWE, but he wanted to go into football, and of course, I'm sure he made a lot more money there. But, I definitely feel bad for his whole family. Wow, he had Joseph, James, Jessica, his wife Julie. I believe she's still married to her. Julie. I feel horrible for his family. So, we don't know the cause of death yet, but we do know it is confirmed he is no longer with us. Judging by his social media posts, it seems to have been sudden, because I don't think there's any indication that he was ill, and we're not hearing anything that he was in poor health. And I don't know what happened. We don't know. I don't think it was anything like COVID, because he was on a cruise, or he was at a resort with his wife. So it just seems like it was sudden. It's really sad. Very sad news. He will be remembered as one half of the greatest tag team of all time. And now he has returned, or I guess the Road Warriors, you can say, have been reunited in heaven. Hawk and Animal, I'm sure, are up in the sky giving someone a doomsday device. Rest in peace to Joseph Laurinaitis, better known to us as Road Warrior Animal. Oh, what a rush!